Hey witches, welcome back to the channel. This is Hectarios. So in this video I want to give a couple updates on my spiritual path, and this is also going to be a Q&A video. So I have some questions written down from some different friends. So I'm going to go over those in the second half of the video, but for the beginning of this video, I want to do an update on basically the whole spiritualism and telekinesis and things I'm trying to develop, things I've been trying to develop recently. Physical mediumship in the sense of telekinesis, psychokinesis, moving objects with your energy. And actually, this is a complicated subject because it's kind of interesting how, you know, when you think about telekinesis and it's about moving things with your mind, like as if you're the one doing it, your will, your intention. And then whenever we talk about physical mediumship, it's about the spirits using your energy from your etheric body, your part of your aura, part of your energy field, but the spirits use that energy to move objects and to do physical phenomena that manifest in physical mediumship. So it's kind of an interesting thing in that regard. Is it the same energy whenever you're doing telekinesis, or whenever you hear about people doing psychokinesis and telekinesis? Is it the same energy? Is it the etheric body that they're using without the aid of spirits, or are spirits doing that for them? This is a interesting area for me, and I feel like it's fun and enlightening delving into it in my spiritual practice and in my just experimentation. Let's be honest with this. It's a experiment. It's experimentation. That's what a lot of magic is for people who really get into it. And you know, you advance past the beginning stages and then you really start experimenting with it to see what you can do and what you can accomplish. So that's where I'm at right now. Of course, I've done updates on that already, but I'm basically been focusing on what I told y'all on the ways of building up your etheric energy. And it has a lot to do, as I said in my past video on the subject. I think it's a good thing to do for any witch or anyone who practices magic to build up this etheric energy, because if you think about it, the way that I broke it down in my last video on this subject matter, I was talking about this energy is good for all of magic, any type of magic that you want to do in the physical world, in the physical reality, that you want to have a physical effect. I think that it's good to build up this etheric energy for any type of magic like that, regardless if you're trying to do telekinesis or psychokinesis or not. It's just, to me, it all goes back to one source, is what I'm trying to say. So with this etheric energy, with building it up in your aura, it comes down to your life force energy and your prana, and, you know, your divine energy, your vitality, your life force. So one of the ways, or some of the ways to build up that energy in your aura, I covered in my other video. Laughing, just enjoying life, having a good sense of humor, laughing every day, you know, anything that uplifts you anything that makes you feel good, anything that raises your vibrations, anything that gives you joy, anything that makes you feel a lot of love in your heart. Love energy is source energy. It is that vitality. It is that life force. So all of those type of things that build up, you can watch my other video on the subject where I kind of broke down all the different things that you can do to build up prana in your aura, but you need to have an excess of it in your aura. So I think I've made some advancements with that since the last time I made a video, so that's why I'm doing an update on it now. I have noticed some telekinetic things happening around me. It's not under my control. I'm not willing the things to happen, but they are happening. So I'm kind of excited, and I wanted to share this with you guys as just a little bit of an update. So also in my past video, I discussed, I don't know why I said that so weird. I discussed how the different gnosis that Hecate had given me on how to do telekinesis. And she was talking about the bond of sympathies and what else was it? I don't have the notebook where I write all my gnosis right in front of me, but you can just refer back to that video and rewatch it. But she was talking about basically if you want to move an object, you have to get into a sense of harmony with it. So that means you have to essentially love the object that you want to move. And you have to feel a deep emotional rapport with it. And that type of thing. Now, I haven't really experimented with this yet because I haven't felt like I've built up an excess of etheric energy in my etheric body, in my aura yet. So I haven't really tried to intentionally move an object or anything like that. However, I did get a new phone recently, and I do love it. And it has been a relationship, you know? So I kind of feel like this is one of those moments where the gnosis comes to you and then your experience kind of proves it inadvertently, because I wasn't trying to do what I'm fixing to tell you, but it was happening. It has been happening. So I got this new phone recently that I'm recording this video on. I love the phone. I love how it works and the quality of the camera and just everything on it. I'm basically in love with the phone, and I love it a lot. So that was me building the bond of sympathies with this phone without me even intentionally realizing it or trying to do it. It sort of just happened on its own unconsciously. So what I have noticed is that on several instances and occasions when I have this phone setting somewhere, it will kind of move towards me a little bit. And it's like very subtle. It's very weak. It's very slow. But it is movement and it is happening. And so let me just show you kind of, like, say that this is my phone. And, you know, I'm just here. And I'm not trying to do anything. But it's like it will slide towards me. Really slow and really weakly. Just a little bit. And as soon as I start to like notice it and focus on it, it stops. So I don't know like what that means or what's the extent of progress that I've made with this, but I know that I've been putting a lot of intention and work into building up my etheric energy. I've been making a lot of hilarious posts on Facebook. I've been making an effort to make myself laugh and make other people laugh too, and just really build up that vibrational energy a lot since I did my last video on this topic and since I discussed the ways that you can build up prana. So this does usually happen, I notice, when I am laying in bed and I'll just have the phone like laying flat on its back, and it's like when I'm getting ready to go to bed or when I first wake up, when this usually happens. However, and because of that reason, since it was happening on the bed, I was thinking, well, maybe this is just because of my weight being on the bed. Maybe it's just sliding towards me a little bit because of the weight and the pressure and the incline, etc. I'm very analytical like that, and I'm very skeptical when it comes to magic and stuff. So, I was thinking that way when it happened. So I didn't really put too much stock in it, or, think it's automatically telekinesis or physical mediumship. However, I set the phone in the windowsill when I was taking a shower, and I was playing music on the phone. And the windowsill, it's hard wood and it's perfectly flat. It's not an incline. It's not a bed where weight shifts and it might slide for that reason. So, here I was getting ready to take a shower. I set the phone on the windowsill. I put some music on. I actually got in the shower, and then I reached back out of the shower to start to change the music on the phone to a different song. Before I touched the phone, it started sliding towards me. That same, like, really slow, really gentle, really weakly sliding. And it's like as soon as I fixated on the fact that it was sliding, it stopped. And I was just like, that's interesting and peculiar. So, but then I got nervous about leaving the phone setting on the windowsill. So I kind of like pushed it way towards the back of the windowsill. And I was just like, please don't fall down while I'm in the shower. But as I was in the shower analyzing it, I was like, how did that slide anyways? Because, the freaking windowsill is flat and it's wood, and it's like there's no way that it should just be able to slide on its own like that. So I just thought that was an interesting tidbit. I haven't noticed it happening with any other objects yet, just the phone. But I think that makes sense because, like I said, in my past video on the subject matter and the things that Hecate was teaching me in the Gnosis of psychokinesis, telekinesis, about how important it is for you to have this sense of harmony with the object you want to move, this bond of sympathies with it. So I definitely have that with my phone, and it was unconscious, but it is what it is, and it is what I have with it. So it makes sense to me that I would have this first experiences, so to speak, with the phone. And what's kind of funny is in another video I did, my phone moved while I was recording myself, and it like faced towards Hecate's sigil on the door, and I had to turn it back to me. I think that was in the video about the subscriber giveaway or something, but that was my old phone. But it was after I'd been trying to develop this ability too. So I don't know if I'm really going to count that one or not, but I just think it's interesting, and I wanted to share this little bit of an update on that subject. And so I'm looking at how much time I have recording right now. So I just thought that was interesting, yes, and I wanted to share it. So I'm kind of excited about it, but I'm really not putting too much stock into it right now, just yet. I'm going to see what else continues to happen. And I am going to keep focusing on, building up my etheric energy and my pranic life force energy, and just see what happens. Very exciting though. I also kind of wanted to give you an update on my journey into sort of like a Norse shamanic practice satyr, that type of thing. Y'all know that I've been kind of delving into the Norse systems of magic recently, really going back to like 2017. I've been off and on delving into it, but just recently this year I've been delving into it a lot more, because I feel like I'm finally at a point to where I can do that right now. So that's what I've been doing, and I don't really have much to share on it yet, but I have got some different furs and things that you kind of, well, I can't really speak with authority on this, but in the historic practice of satyr, the practitioner wears furs, animal furs, and that's actually typical of lots of different practices of shamanism in general and the different cultures. So I recently had gotten some furs to use to wear when I'm going to be doing this practice, and see where that gets me. Like literally recently, like within the past week or so. Before that, though, I have had some experiences of and some practices of tapping into the current of satyr, and which, if you don't know what that is basically the equivalent of a shamanistic practice of the Norse system. You have Galder, which is the use of the runes and writing spells, and you have satyr, which is the more shamanistic trance type of more psychic type magic. And I'm delving into both systems, but it is largely you know, the history of it is not very well preserved. So any kind of modern books on the subject matter, which I, by the way, have not read any books on it because I don't believe in really doing that. When I delve into something, I just want to do it, you know, as me experiencing it myself. And so I don't really like reading books on a subject necessarily. I kind of like diving right in myself, and then after the fact, I'll like to read a book or read some books about it if I feel like I should or if I need to. And usually it does in some way affirm my experiences or give me a little bit more insight on what it is that I did experience. So really, I feel like I'm more skilled at Galder so far because I've had more experience with using runes. But with the whole satyr thing, I feel like I'm getting there and getting more in attunement with the trance states that you need to be in. I'm hoping that now that I have some furs to wear, when I do that type of ritual, I can get more into it. And of course, with any type of ritual, the more ritual paraphernalia that you have that aligns with that current, the more better results that you'll have. So I'm hoping to get into that more and have some more things to share with you all on that subject matter. If that's even something y'all want to hear about, leave some comments below on that. I guess I'm going to get into the questions now because I really don't have that much to share on anything else at the moment. So I asked my Facebook friends for questions that they might have regarding Hecate and magic. So I got quite a few questions to go through here. So the first question is actually from Bruno here on YouTube. He left this comment on my past video and he said, Hecterios, why don't you approach a subject based on this theme? spells are not magic. They may trigger events, but they don't push it to happen against the natural order of the universe. He says, I read this on a Brazil esoteric site, and I found it an intriguing topic for you to cover. Thank you. So, that's an interesting question. Spells are not magic. They may trigger an event, but not push it to happen against the natural order of the universe. That is an interesting topic. I did make a post about this recently on Facebook, and I was talking about how I was actually thinking about making an entire video about this, but I guess I'll just include it here. So, I'm kind of just going to reiterate what I said in my Facebook post, so I'm sorry if you already saw that, but I feel like that's very relevant and fits to this question. Magic is it's very hit and miss sometimes. A lot of witches will know this and notice this, and I've seen a lot of people try to explain this, but nowhere have I seen an explanation of it that is satisfactory to me. So, of course I have my own 2 cents about it. I think it's because magic, does not come from us. It's not necessarily, your will being imposed on the world, okay? I think that magic, I think that the divine has a part to play in all of magic. I think that the divine has pretty much the ultimate say-so in your magic, in any magic that you may do or try to do or want to do or have done. I think that the divine had a role to play in that and is ultimately the deciding factor in whether or not your spells and your magic is even going to work or do what it's supposed to do. Spells are not magic. They may trigger an event, but they don't push it to happen against the natural order. I think I agree with that. Absolutely. To an extent, I feel, because if you're talking about the natural order, lots of things happen naturally. Lots of things have the potential to happen naturally, but they may not necessarily happen naturally. I think that spells and magic, we do have a power and an extent, like your question says, they may trigger an event to happen. Yes. And now that I reread that, I do think I agree with it completely. If something can happen, it doesn't mean it will happen. But perhaps when we cast a spell, we do cause it to happen. So it very much is a trigger in that regard. But I do think that there are some things that I might, kind of disagree with this, because when it says, but not push things to happen against the natural order of the universe, I kind of disagree with that in the same breath, because, I have done spells, a few times for, let's say a client or a friend who could not get pregnant, medically and naturally speaking. They weren't able to get pregnant, but I have cast spells that had helped them conceive anyways. So I don't necessarily know if that was really going against the natural order of the universe or not, but it certainly seems like, they weren't physically, medically able to conceive, but it happened anyway because of the magic. So I definitely, I don't know, I feel like magic can happen, miraculous magic that's, not necessarily even possible to happen without the magic doing it. But at the same time, I kind of agree with this too, because I feel like the divine has the ultimate say so, if your magic is going to work or not. So to that extent, it certainly feels like every spell casting might really be, just a request or just a prayer that the divine, the spirits that you work with, whatever it is, ultimately decide whether they will grant it or not. I feel like, to refer to my Facebook post I made recently, we all have spirits on our side. And to refer back to my other video I made on this topic, everyone has spirits. Whether or not you are aware of it, whether or not you are conscious of it, we all have spirits. And it doesn't matter if you're magical or not. Every person alive has spirits with them. Their ancestors, spirits that are drawn to their lifestyle, the things that they do, their thought patterns, the emotions that they're feeling. It fluctuates and it varies even throughout your lifetime, even throughout your day. Different spirits will be drawn to you and different spirits will depart from you, but we all have spirits around us all the time. And I feel like, for those who do magic, there might be, powerful spirits around us, deities and things like that. And I feel like they're a great source of our power. And the things that we can do with magic ultimately stems back to them. And it doesn't come from us. It doesn't come from, some spiritual power that we have. Everything is relationship. So, in that regard, you do have a power in that, you control how you interact with the spirits. You can control your own behavior and how you approach the spirits with respect and love, or lack thereof. And to that extent, they will react to you. So you do have a power in that regard, but at the same time, I feel like the majority of the magic that you're able to accomplish is because of your spirit allies and helpers. I do not think that it comes from you alone. It's a joint effort. And ultimately, the spirits themselves have the say-so if they're going to help you or not with anything that you request, with any spell that you ask for help with, or that you cast a spell for, send an intention out. The spirits will be the ones that fulfill it or not. So that's kind of my take on that question. And I definitely went more in depth on the Facebook post, but that was because it was more so about the spirits and how they are the source of our magic. But let me just add one more thing. Like I said at the end of that post, if you don't believe me, don't take my word for this, but if you don't believe me, stop feeding your spirits and see what happens. More than likely, you're going to have a humbling experience to where your magic's not working anymore. So, that's just my take on it. The next question I'm going to cover here is from Brendan. He asks, what are unique things you do with your workings? That is a really loaded question because I do a lot of different things with my workings. I do not feel limited in any way when it comes to my magic and rituals and stuff like that. I do a lot of different methods. I do a lot of different techniques. and ways of doing it. A favorite of mine, of course, is candle magic. I love doing candle magic. I love the energy of fire, and it's just a powerful thing. Fire is very powerful, and so I love using it and utilizing it through candle magic. But as far as unique things that I do, that I really don't see a lot of other practitioners doing, I like doing magic outside. I like creating different circles and things like that outside in nature and working within that, or just drawing different sigils and things directly on the earth, on the ground, and doing magic within that. I feel like that adds a lot of spiritual energy that draws on the earth itself, which is also a very fertile, strong, and steady source of power. Some other unique things I do. I have to think about this for a minute because, you know, I don't really do unique type magic frequently. It's more so like the really big rituals that I do and the very special type magic that I do, you know. So let me just think on this for a minute. I don't really know how to answer this because there's just so much. I feel like this is something I need to think about for a while and maybe do an entire whole video on it. I'll have to look back through my grimoires and see the different rituals that I've done that I can consider unique compared to, you know, regular other magic and rituals. But definitely what I said, working outside in circles and stuff like that, that's one of the major ways that I do my unique type of magic is I take it outside. I take it into nature and I take it to locations of power. I don't just do it in my yard. I will go to the cemetery. I will go to the woods. I will go to a creek or a stream. I will go to these different places in nature and construct a ritual. I don't even know what you would call it, like a circle